Hi there, Rabbi. It's time for another in our series on how to make America good again. Not great, but good. And today we're going to talk about honesty. Now, honesty is something that I honestly not sure I know enough about because I had a lot of trouble being honest in my youth because I wanted people to like me, so I would make up stories. And then as I got older, I realized how flawed that thinking was. So I started always telling the truth, and it would get me in trouble sometimes. So, where's the in between, or is this something that we always have to try and do?
Remember, the series we're doing is to have a moral compass based on, I'm using the three Abrahamic religions and then adding Hinduism and Buddhism. And of course, I want everyone to look at their own faith, their own religion. We're looking at some guidance, not absolutes, because absolutes, moral imperatives never work in every situation. We can always come up with a situation in real life where it would be worse to follow any of our 10 plus 1 values. So that's important. That's a given. The other thing is we don't want to abuse it or use the this to say, oh, good. And one of the criterias in all our religions is personal gain. If by lying and not being honest, we're getting personal gain, we're making money, we're getting power and control, we're getting elected to office, then you have stepped outside the accepted elasticity, the accepted area where you don't need to stick to the core value. We want to start with the prohibition against bearing false witness. We want to consider truth, as the Hindus teach, as a fundamental virtue. Right speech, as the Buddha taught, is one of the eightfold path. Okay? You shall not deal falsely. You shall not lie to one another. We're going to start with the virtue of not giving false testimony. And Jesus said, I am the way, I am the truth, and the life. That's our starting point. And now we're going to say, am I using my moral compass? Am I sticking to my religious teachings of telling the truth? Or am I lying and changing it for personal gain? And there, I think, is a good criteria, Joe, that we can use with all our religions. Fear Allah and speak words of appropriate justice. Truthfulness leads to righteousness, and righteousness leads to paradise. That's Islamic teaching. And we want to do that. However, in a given situation, it may lead to death, destruction, and harm. And too often I find people want to use the excuse because it's for personal gain. And therein, Joe, lies a good criteria to help us navigate honesty. Honesty is our moral compass. Now we have to look at the specific situation.
That's always the trouble. When somebody asks you, how do you like your dinner? You have to answer politely. And my mother always said it's good to tell the truth, but never tell somebody they made a bad flan. It's not safe. And emotions, little children showing you their drawings is different than having an adult who's a contemporary painter ask you their opinion or your opinion of their art.
You know, there's a Hindu teaching that fits right in with this. And the teaching is speak the truth, speak what is pleasant, and do not speak the unpleasant truth. And so we have some guidance from each of our faith groups in given situations. There is no need to criticize the food or the person's dress. There's nothing in it to tell the truth. So the Hindus teach don't speak unpleasant truth, but there's no personal gain in it for you. And that's my criteria, Joe, for each of us to use when we want to deviate from any of our basic teachings about I am the way and I am the truth. Are you doing it for personal gain? Or You're doing it not to hurt the other person.
Well, I know one thing that never gets hurt, and that's my feelings when I talk with you, Rabbi. I'm always amazed at how you manage to come up with wisdom on every topic, including this one. Thank you as always.
And, may each of us continue to walk our own path with conviction, always recognizing the light of truth and goodness in our own faith and our own teachings. And by working together, united in our love for the United States of America, we can really make America good again.